Hey guys, this is Alexandria Ross with Modern Day Crunch. So today we're going to talk about how to wake up your sleepy baby to get them to breastfeed. Typically, in the first few weeks of life, the babies tend to be a little bit tired and they like to sleep long, and it can cause a little bit of stress for the parents when you're trying to get them accustomed and get used to this whole breastfeeding thing. So we're going to talk about a few tips, a few things you can do to kind of ease your mind and make breastfeeding a little bit easier for you. First and foremost, strip that baby down. We are a culture that likes to layer on the clothes, and it's understandable, but I see people layer on the baby clothes even when it's 100 degrees outside. So if you're inside your house, or regardless, if you're inside though, especially, strip the baby down to just the diaper. Think about when you are waking up in the morning and you're all nice and cozy and comfy in your bed. If you were to take those covers off, chances are you'd wake up. It sounds mean, but it's not mean. You're just trying to wake them up and get them going. So strip them down, everything off but the diaper. After that, if that doesn't work, if that alone doesn't work, then we often recommend changing the diaper. Now, I have found that you don't actually have to change the diaper. You can get away with simply unfastening the diaper and giving them, again, a little gust of air, if you will, cold air. A lot of times that will upset them enough that they'll wake up and tend to start rooting around, because if they're awake, usually that means that they want to eat. So try to change their diaper or just unfasten their diaper. Also, you can, rub their head, rub their feet, rub their back, walk around the room, give them to someone else. Sometimes you just might have to give them to someone else to kind of wake them up and see if they're interested. And then put them on you, put them right on your skin and see if they smell you and they'll start rooting around. Chances are these things will work and they'll wake up and they'll start to root and have a better latch. If they don't, then what I always say is just put them skin to skin on you. Take off your shirt and put them skin to skin and let them just chill, like right here. Just let them chill there. They will smell you, and chances are they will start to reach out. You'll see that they'll kind of reach out towards the breast, or they'll kind of move their way, or they'll start doing that woodpecker thing where they're like bobbing at you, and they'll be going for the breast. And usually that always works. Actually, I don't think I've ever had that not work, honestly, just skin to skin for a while. And usually that's good. Once they are latched, if they're sleepy, again, rub their head, rub like right here. A lot of times this stimulates them to keep going, keep sucking. Rub their feet, their back, and this is all gentle. You're just kind of like, I don't want to say petting, but you're kind of petting them to kind of keep them engaged and keep them going, keep them awake so that they can get an efficient feed from you. Now, I have to say, this doesn't mean, bounce your breast all over the place, because I've seen like women slap their baby in the face with the boob. Don't do that. I'm not saying like overly aggressively rub their head or constantly rub their face or constantly rub their back or rub their feet. You don't want to overstimulate. There's a fine line between stimulate and overstimulate. And when you see parents, they all mean well, but when you see them overstimulating and messing with the baby, what happens is the baby now is pissed. They're going to get mad and they're going to shut down because too much is going on. Too much. You got to remember, they never had to feed before. They've never had to breastfeed before. So everything's new to them. And then they've never really been touched before. You got to think, like, they've never had all this stimulation. So you got to be careful that you're not overstimulating them. Just gently rub them, gently try to wake them. If you've done all this and they still are not interested, do not stress about it. If you have an otherwise healthy child, then they will eat, they will feed. If there's nothing, if we're not worried about their weight too much, or there's nothing else going on, then it's not that big of a deal to let them go for a while. So what I always say is keep them stripped down, keep them on your chest, and then just cover up with blankets if you need to, so that they don't get too cold, but keep them skin to skin. And eventually, like I said, they will wake up, they'll move their way to the breast. You just have to learn to be patient and let them kind of be the boss of when they eat at this stage. And they will eat. So that's mainly all you have to do, is just rub them and stimulate them and keep them in the game. Sometimes you can kind of press on your breasts and give them little milk boluses as they eat too once they latch. But rest assured, they will latch. They will. They always do. You just got to be patient. You got to stay calm. You got to be in a nice, calm room. You don't want really bright lighting. If they're not, too interested, you got to think, where did they come from? Their whole life, they were in a very dark place, your womb. They were in a dark, loud place, really. So maybe have some soothing noise on, and just kind of make it inviting for them. We can't force a baby to breastfeed. You just can't. You can force to bottle feed, and that's why a lot of times when babies have these long stretches, we tend to reach for the bottle because we feel better about it. You put the bottle in their mouth, and the way nipples are, they just tend to trickle the formula, even if it's breast milk, but they tend to trickle it in, and the babies have no choice but to swallow. So then we all feel good because we're like, well, they ate. But the truth of the matter is if someone had something in your mouth and it just was coming out, you would have no choice but to swallow too, whether you were hungry or not. So think of it in terms like that. The bottle isn't necessarily an end all, like save all. If they're hungry, they'll eat. You just have to give them a chance to eat. So if they're sleepy and they're not interested, give them time, and eventually they'll eat. Otherwise, I guess you could reach for the bottle, but I don't recommend that. Give them time. Now, if you have to keep waking the baby up, if it's a constant, continuous, I gotta wake them up every single time, and that doesn't mean every 2 to 3 hours. I mean, like, it's going 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, and every single time they're very sleepy, then you might want to go to the doc, because there could be something else going on with your baby. There could be, or maybe things like jaundice. If your baby did suffer from jaundice or was jaundice, I shouldn't say suffer, that sounds like it's bad, but if your baby was jaundice, they're gonna be sleepy and they're not the best eaters. So they require more time and patience and effort to get them to eat. So if you have to constantly do it, I would seek medical help, or at least go see your local lactation consultant to see what's going on if you have to constantly do that. But otherwise, just stay calm, do the best you can. I'm sure you're doing great. If you're watching this, I know you're doing great because you're looking for help or you're seeking guidance. So if you're watching this, I know that you're probably doing everything you can. So just keep doing that, and remember, there's no perfect way. There's just your way to parent, and that's the best way for you and your family. So keep doing what you're doing, and I will see you next time.